Can you all hear me? All right. A very good evening to everyone. I hope all of you are able to hear me clearly. How is everyone doing today? So I have Abdul, Amit, Ankita, Anshul, Aryan, Avina, Avish, Devesh, and lot many people. So welcome to the first day of our boot camp. I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Ishani. I'm one of the directors over here at IB. And my key strength or the area of analytics that I work in is descriptive analytics, where I'm working with the tools of visualizations like Power BI and Tableau, advanced Excel, and good understanding of SQL also, and automation of Excel through VBA. So, just want to start today's session on Power BI. Before we get into the real, working of the Power BI and understanding how we are going to create this dashboard, if some people can tell me, few of you can help me out to understand what is a dashboard, what is the purpose of a dashboard? Anyone? What's the purpose of a dashboard?
It helps us in taking a business decision.
It helps us in taking a business decision. And how does it help us in taking the business decision? Getting some, drawing some insights from best way to insights or easily from the data is through the charts. Hence, we talk about data visualization, we talk about dashboarding, and that really helps us to get the drill down the data, slice the data so that we can get some insights. For storytelling, correct. For visualize the required data, correct. All of them are the reasons. Now, what you see in front of you is a dashboard that I created today for COVID-19 analysis. The data set is big, hence, first I was trying to create a connection and I thought, we can probably learn that part also in today's boot camp. But unfortunately, the connection and to get data from that connection takes a lot of time. Hence, I've already downloaded the data and I'm going to share this data set with all of you on the chat over here in case you are using this data. In case you are using chat on your phone, what I'm also going to do is send you this link on which I have uploaded this data set on my drive, and all of you should be able to download it from here. So I've already sent the drive link, and now I'm sending you the data set. I've taken it from the website called Data World. It's a huge data set, so it will take time for you to download it. Don't worry. Before you get, you can start the downloading process. And while you're downloading, we can talk about a little bit about the data. Because I feel the first step before you can create a dashboard, very important step of our study has to be to understand the data very well. And based on that data, then think about, what could be important. Hold on. It is going to be important for us to understand the data. And then from data, we should be able to come up with an idea, okay, that I am going to create a dashboard. So what exactly I want to show to the end user in this dashboard? So I'll get you started with the data. I picked up COVID-19 activity from the entire data source. Now, this is a CSV file, what is comma separated value files. I am going to open it in Excel and you will see it will give me a message of saying the data is more than Excel can work with. So that's fine. I just want to open the data to explain you the columns that we are working with so that you also understand what are the new columns we are going to create for our study. So to get you started, first there is a column A in which there are people positive cases count. So how many people were positive, in which county, in which province, what was the report date, in which continent, in which city, and this is the people death new count, how many people died on that particular day, what is the county number, which is the country, what is the country short name, few things over here. Then these are the people positive new cases count. So I have not worked with the death count data. I worked only with the positive cases. Now to understand this data a little more, so there's not just one country, there are multiple countries that are a part of this data, multiple continents, inside continents, there are countries. And how this number is getting generated, because from 22nd to 23rd to 24th, you see there's a change in the number. Sometimes it's increasing. So 341, it went to 347. Sometimes it's decreasing. So this number increasing and decreasing is actually happening from this people positive new case count. So from the first day, next day you will see there are 6 new people. So since there are 6 new people, there's an addition of 6 over here. And the next day you will see there's a -1, hence it decreased by 1. So I am only going to use column A. Over here again, we will have to do some calculations to get our, get a meaningful output in our study. So let's go and look at the dashboard. Like I said, my focus was to focus only on the positive cases. And if you look at the dashboard that I've created over here, I have also introduced a term called variant. Like original, the main wave basically, wanted to focus on that. The original one, then came the Delta, then is Omicron that we are dealing with right now. So did you see this column of Delta or Omicron or original over there? Did you see any column? Was it there in the data set? I'll take you again to the data set. Do you see any column which talks about the variant?
No.
No. Okay. So what I wanted to display using this activity was, when you create dashboard, don't only think that I have to create dashboard with what I have, the data that I have. We can do a lot of calculations, what we call as a DAX calculations or the DAX functions in Power BI, to create new data set that can help us in our analysis. So over here, to show you the working of this data, if I wanted to look at, okay, let's look at Europe. So once I click on Europe, I am only focusing on map of Europe. This is the world map. The size of the circle is depicting the number of positive cases that I have. Then in that particular continent, what are my top 5 countries? All the countries are available over here, top 5 countries. And then I am also able to visualize this year and month increase in the cases. So how many cases were there? What was the increase in the given time period from 2020 to 22 is the data set. How was the rise of the data, right? Plus, what is the total number of positive cases? Now, if I wanted to understand, let's say on Omicron, how much it is, so the data has got filtered. Now the map is telling us about the numbers with respect to Omicron. In Europe, what are the positive cases, which are my top countries, and what has been the rise. So you will see now the date has changed from October 21st to Jan 2022. Right? Similar, we can do it for any of the continent. And if you pick for a specific country, now it is working for a country. This is the total number of positive cases. This has been the rise in the data. And if I change this to Delta, then my numbers changes. How the rise was there, that has changed. How many cases I have, that has changed. Is that clear? Any question regarding what you see as an output over here? And then we'll start, brainstorming to how we can create it. Any question regarding what you're looking at? So couple of things that I am going to take you through in Power BI today. We are going to work with how to put slices, and there are two variety of slices I've used. How to use a card. This is called a card. How to use a world map. How to work with tables and filters, and how to create line charts. Plus, on the top, we are also put our header, how we are going to put a heading of our dashboard, how to pick some pictures from outside and insert it in our dashboard. Though there were no columns, how this functions. So there are no columns, but I created few columns for the purpose of this analysis. Okay, so I'm going to take you through them. So let's start. I hope all of you have Power BI installed. Now, Power BI takes a lot of processing space, speed, everything. So make sure if there's any other application in the backend, please close that application. Otherwise, you will see Power BI will be super slow for you. So I hope you have Power BI. Let's open Power BI. This is the first screen that you are going to get. Over here, you see the first thing, get data. So we are going to click on get data. It should open a window for us, which shows the variety of data sets that we can connect to. So I have Excel, text files, XLM, JSON files, folders, SQL servers. So it can connect to servers, it can connect to various type of files. Like I was telling you, what I was trying to make you do today was connect to an online service. And since I got the data from Data World, I could have connected. The advantage we would have got if it was connected to the Data World is that this particular data gets updated frequently. Like last update was, I think, today or on 17th, I forgot. But this data gets updated frequently. And once we have created one dashboard, the data will be fetched from this website continuously and updated the dashboard. But since due to the time constraint, I have not done that. And I've given you a static data set. So the data set that we have is which one? What is the extension of the data set I've sent you?
Excel.
It's not Excel.
Okay.
It's a text file. It's a CSV file. Why is it a CSV file? Because the data set is, like I said, it's a huge data set. Excel has a limitation of how much data it can show to you or even store to do any kind of work on it. So this is a text or a CSV file I've sent. So you have to select first. First step is going to be to select which data type you are going to connect with. So I've done that. Then we are going to click on connect. And then we are going to pick our data source. So like I said, I've sent you this activity data and I'm going to open this. Okay. Now this screen that comes up in Power BI, what does it show? It gives you a preview of the data that it has connected to. So it's showing us that, okay, first column is people positive, then the county name, province, report, continent, and so on and so forth. And what it does is based on the first 200 rows, it is doing a data type detection. Data type detection meaning this is a number, county name, province is a text, report date is a date data type. So it's kind of telling us also what the data types is going to be. So we are going to go and click on load. Once you click on load, again, like I said, database is huge. So it may take time for loading the model. Like you see, it's 13, 16 to 19, 22, 25. It's increasing. So give it some time to load the data into Power BI. Everybody has received the data set, right? Is there anyone who has not got the data set?
From where can we get the data set? As in, I don't think I have received.
So in the chat window, I had sent a link of the drive. Okay, I've uploaded it once again in the chat of Zoom.
Yeah.
All right, so click on that. That will give you, Himanshu, same for you. Click on this drive link and that should be able to, you can click on it will take you to the data set and download the data set. So from the drive also, when you're downloading the data set, make sure you are going to do it as a CSV file. Otherwise, half your data won't show up. Okay, so far so good. How many of you have been able to successfully load the data in Power BI? How many of you have been successful in loading the data? I've got one thumbs up from Sanskriti. What others? Renuka, you can also post this data in our YouTube channel for people who are following on YouTube Live. Power BI is not installed. All right. If it's not installed, every time we take such boot camps, it's always fun to do hands-on along with while you're learning, right? So for next time, make sure you're using the phone. Okay. So make sure, guys, whenever you're attending these kind of boot camps where we are giving you hands-on, you should try it, because that gives you a better understanding of the tool and its capacity, its power, its output, how it's going to look like. And you will get the videos, so you can, once you've installed it on your machines, you can definitely go through it again. All right, using mobile, it's okay. But try to implement this. Then you will feel some sense of accomplishment is there when you do these things. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Now, let me explain you this area that you are looking at. We are going to work in this part of Power BI called report. And what this report is, basically, this is the area where we are going to create our visualizations, our dashboard. When you're putting multiple visualizations which are interacting with each other, that becomes our dashboard. Okay. Now, on your right-hand side, you will see there are three panes that you will look at. One is fields, visualization, and filter. So in this dashboard, I have tried to use all three so that you get a flavor of what Power BI is capable of doing. What is there in field? Field has your main table to which you have connected. And if you click on the drop down, it will give you all the list of the fields that are there. Visualization pane is the one where you see what are the variety of charts that we can create in Power BI and more. And this is the place where we are going to control what fields we want to drop in which chart. And filters are used when you want to create a filter on either one visualization or the entire dashboard or that one particular page. Like I showed you in this visualization, I have put a filter in top 5 countries. So we will be working with the filter part as well. Now, first thing first, we need to make sure that we have all the fields that I have used in my visualization. So if you go back, things that are not there with you currently in the data set is the number of positive cases. Why I'm saying it's not there? So what should the positive case depict right now? So if I have this dashboard, what should be this positive case? Should it be total of the column A? Should it be total of your column A? Column A has individually on a particular day, how much was the answer is actually no. As if it's not yes, it's no. The reason is what this number is giving me. This number is giving me the positive count on a given date. So if I do a total of this, I am going to get a much higher number than actually what the number is. So ideally, which number should populate over here? Whichever is the last number of the latest date in this database. Are we able to understand this? So just to give you an idea, let's say if I pick a continent and I'm going to pick Europe. In the continent, let's say we are going to pick a country. I'm going to work with a short country name and we are going to pick United Kingdom and okay. So this dates that you see starts from 22 1st 2020 when we first saw the cases and it is going all the way to 17th 1 2020. That's the last day this data was updated. So actually, how many cases do we currently have? We have about 15 million cases right now. But if I do a sum of all of them, then it is going to give me a much higher number. So that would be absolutely wrong. So current one should be the last number recorded based on the maximum date. Is this part clear? What I'm explaining and why it is a problem that I can't pick the data as it is? Is it clear to everyone?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. So what we do is, I'm sure when you hear about Power BI, you also hear about the deadly DAX functions, which make it a little scary to use Power BI. So there are two types of DAX functions that are available in Power BI. One is columns and one are measures. So columns are what? Columns means that a new column gets created in your table, and in each row a new value comes up. And when you create a measure, it is like a calculation that you've done and it does not show on your tables. So I am going to make you first work that how are we going to get the actual positive cases or the current positive cases for all the countries. So if you go back over here, I have created this field called final positive cases. Okay, and final positive cases, I have created it like a measure. So when you say measure, we have to kind of write some kind of calculation, some kind of formulas to get the output. So what I've done is, once you create a measure, I have given the name and I've used a function called calculate. Now, what is the role of this calculate function? It kind of acts like a filter. It is going to do calculation based on a filtered data. Okay, so the first part of calculate is, what do you want to give as an output? Now, what I wanted as an output was the maximum of the positive cases. This is my first column. And based on what? Based on if the report date is equal to the maximum of the report date. So means whatever data set I have, and there are, let's say, 20 report dates. Out of that, whichever is the maximum report date means the latest report date. If the two dates are matching, I would want to get the positive case with respect to it. Does it make sense? Yes. So for ease of your working, I will show it to you live also how it is done, but I'm copy pasting this code for you, this calculation for you. So how do we get these measures? So you would go back and we're going to select our table. We are going to right click on it and we will say, I want to create a new measure. So once you create the measure over here, please explain here. Again, I'll explain over here. So we created a measure. Now I want to give a calculation to it. So what is the name of this measure? I have kept the name as final positive cases. Okay. Now, how am I calculating this thing? I am using a function called calculate. Now, when you look at calculate, what it does, it evaluates an expression in context modified by filter. So I'm able to do a calculation based on some filtering criteria in it. If you are a user of Excel and if you know something like a SUMIF or a COUNTIF, are you guys aware of SUMIFs and COUNTIFs kind of a function? Amar and Digvijoy? Yeah. So this is the version that we have in Power BI. Okay, so this does filtering and then calculation. All right. So what is the first thing I have to give to it? I need to give to it an expression. So what is the expression? I'm saying I want to find maximum of the positive cases. Not the new one, mind it, not the new one, because new one are used to create the column A. So I want this and close the bracket, comma. Now when I put a comma, you will see it is going to ask for the filter. So I will calculate the maximum, but based on what condition? The condition is that the report, and as in when you keep typing, you will see the headers and the fields are coming up over here. So we are saying the report date is equal to maximum of the report date and close the bracket. So it will see, okay, which report date is the maximum of all the report dates, and based on that, pick that value only. And I had to give an expression, so I've just put a max function that helps me to get what I require. Now is it clear, Amar, Digvijoy? Yes, great. So when you press enter, you will see this measure has been created called final positive cases. I'll give you about 2 minutes. I would request everyone who has Power BI installed and you have the data uploaded, create this particular measure for yourself. And this comes under DAX. This is one of the very important DAX functions that we use in Power BI. Once you're done, do put it in the chat window that you're done. If you have any issues in doing it, do let me know. We can share the screen. I can help you out in doing the right calculations. Asif done. Reynold, I think you said you were working on phone, so that's fine. Ritika, Sanjukta, Sanskriti, Sovik, Priyanka, Pooja, Ola, welcome back, Ola. Manushri, Khushbu, Vikas, Aryan. Can you tell me about the DAX function? What do you want to know about the DAX function? A max is used in true or false expression, that is used as a table expression. This is not allowed. I'm getting this. We paste it for you. Can you match it against what I had copy pasted? I'm pasting it once again.
I used exactly the same.
Can't be exactly the same. Let me look at your screen. Hold on. Let me quickly look at your screen, please. Okay, share your Power BI screen. So click on it. All right, calculate max COVID. This. One bracket start, one close, COVID report, max report date. Yes, looks like the max function has been used in true and false. And what did you create? You created a measure only. So max of this, just check the brackets. And comma, COVID, report date equal to maximum. Looks fine. I don't know why. Just delete it and copy paste the formula I have sent once. It's going to work. Press enter. Just press enter once. It is still stuck on this.
Yes, I pressed enter. It's still
stuck. Strange. All right. Don't know why it is happening.
I think when we copy paste the expression directly, then it happens. I will have to type it, I guess.
Oh, okay. Okay. Try to do that. Like I think someone was saying reduce the space after max. Just try to do all that. Try to type in and then do it.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Okay. This also work.
how do you know which DAX function is used in which cases? So that is something that can't be covered. I hope you would agree with me, Sagar, that that is something that can't be covered in 1 hour where we're trying to create a dashboard also. So can't go in the depth of DAX, can't tell you what are all the DAX functions, when to use what. Difficult to cover it. All right. I hope you understand this. So I'm just wanted to give you a flavor of how DAX works, because that is something that people get afraid of in Power BI. Okay, now what we want, if you saw again over here, I have created these variants over here, right, which were not originally there in the table. So these variants, since what I want with each report date, I would want to classify whether it was Delta, it was Omicron, or it was the original when we had started with the COVID-19, it was that wave. So each row should get a value, correct? Every row in my table should get a value, whether it's which category it belongs to. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is this? This is not a measure. Since we are trying to create it on a row basis, this is a column that we are creating. So if I click on this column, you will see the formula I've used over here. I again named it as variant. I use the simple if function, and people have not used if function. A brief, like what we are doing, we are saying, okay, check a condition. If it is true, give this as an output. If it's false, give this some other thing as an output. And I have used over here nested if. So if you guys are Excel users, you will be able to understand the syntax very well. That if the report date dot date means I'm pulling the date component of it, is greater than equal to 21st, 10th, 30th. So 30th of October 2021. If it's greater than that, I have classified as Omicron. So what is this date? Date is a function which helps us to construct the date if I give the date parts like year, month, and the day. And then if it's false, so this part is a false part. If it's not Omicron, then I wanted to again check the date. And if the date is greater than equal to 11th November 2020, then I want to categorize this as Delta, else it should be categorized as original. Is this formula clear? Again, doing the same thing, copying and pasting it over here for you guys. So now how would you write it in Power BI in your files? So everyone can do this with me. Right click on the table. Just like we had new measure, I want to create new column. Right? Same process, give a name to the field you want to create, put a formula in front of it. So I am putting the name as variant. And then I'm going to put the formula if. What are we testing? We are testing the report date. What part of the report date? The date. So dot date. And it is if it's greater than equal to the date function. What the date function requires? First give the year, then the month, then the day. So the year I've given is 2020, month I've given is 10, and day I have given as, I forgot, what is the day I gave? As 30th. 30th of October is what I've taken. And bracket close, comma. Now we are which part? We are in the result if true. If it is true, then what should I return? I want to return Omicron. Comma. Now I'm in result if false. If this is not true, if this condition is not true, then what I want to do, I want to check again. So I'll put another if function. And now again, the same process, report. I want to pick the date. If this is greater than equal to the date format, year is 2020 and month is, I think 11/11 is what I've taken. Hold on one sec. So this is 2020. Oh, that was 21. 21. That's what thinking doesn't make sense. This is 21. This should be 2020, 11/11. Close the bracket. If this is true, then it is going to be categorized as Delta, else original. close the bracket for if. First one, close the bracket for second if. Press enter, and you should see a field is created called variant. Let me know again if you are able to do this. Original, I could not think, every wave had a particular thing that we talk about, but initial was COVID, but these are all COVID, right? Then came the Delta version, then came the Omicron. So I don't think so we gave a name to the first one. So that's what original means. I could not think of what I should name it. Initial. Okay. Let's say it initial virus. Original. Initial virus. All right. If I can spell it also correctly. Yes. So I'm going to give, as per Sagir's suggestion, I'm going to call it initial virus. Okay. Again, let me know if you're done. Then we move on. Pooja done. Abdul also done. Manushri done. So now we just have to create our charts. Sanskriti also done. Good. Okay, should we move on? Now comes the fun part, the easy part of creating charts. So what I need a slicer. I'll tell you the name of these components I've used. This is called a slicer. What is the role of a slicer? It kind of acts like an interactive filter on which it is going to filter on all the things that you have put over here. But we can kind of modify that if it doesn't need to interact with one of the visuals, that all modification can be done. But by default, it does interact with all. Okay. The second component, this is also a slicer, but a different way. This is a vertical slicer. This is a horizontal slicer. The third component is the card that we are going to create. So let's create these three on the top. So slicer, slicer, and a card. Where do we find them? Over here in the report, we will now work with the visualization pane. This symbol, the first column, 1, 2, 3, 4, fifth icon that you see is a slicer. So once you click on it, it creates kind of a placeholder. I'm going to put a little down because on the top, like you saw, I've put the title and all those things. So I'll leave space for that. And now I want to drop the field to create the slicer. Which field did we use for creating a slicer? What did you see in my visualization? The variant. Perfect. So we want to go and select variant. And once we do, over here, we've got our first slicer in. You can adjust the size and let's move on. Second is again a slicer. So we click another slicer. So you have to make sure before you put another visualization, you have deselected the current one. Because if you don't deselect, it changes what you are currently selecting. So I'm going to click on white space, create another slicer. And this slicer is for what? What is the slicer for? Continent. Okay, so I'm going to click on continent. And you see how it gave me a vertical row? I don't want vertical, I want horizontal. So how do I change that? So while this is selected, we will go in the visualization pane. This is where you drop the fields and we will go to something called format. So we'll click on format. And in the first thing in general, it gives us the orientation. Right now it's at vertical. I can actually go ahead and change it to horizontal. And since it's horizontal, we need to make sure we design it also in such a way that it's able to show all the elements in it. Are these 2 points clear? How I created the slicer? I'll give you time to create. So just be with me right now. Once all the three are ready, I'll ask you to create it. Next is the card. So where is the card kept? 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth column, 1, 2, 3, 4. Fourth row. Fourth column, fourth row. This is a single card. There is a multi-line card also. There is a single card. We used a single card. And what these cards are meant for, what is the utility of using these cards in visualization is to pop up a number of importance for the study. Like all we care about in this entire corona is how many people are positive, how many people are getting infected, how many people are dying. So those are important numbers for us. So in this card, which field do you think I'll drop when I want to know the current status? The final one. Perfect, Amar. So I am going to pick and put the final positive number over here. So it gives me a total of 38 million. All right. So now you can go ahead and create the first three, 2 slices, 1 card.
For the, what is the second, the continent name, that was which visual?
This is also a slicer. But
Okay.
in this slicer, when you go to the formatting, I
Yes.
changed its orientation from vertical to horizontal.
Okay, okay, understood.
Obviously, I've done a lot of formatting on my dashboard, which is again going to be a little tougher part to cover everything in one small 1 hour. But I think formatting is still you guys can take care of, should not be very difficult part. So just want to focus on the technicality of this dashboard first. Done? You would get this blank cell over here, which is not there in my visualization because I filtered it out. But you're getting a blank space over here, it's absolutely fine. There are some values if you go to this data part and if you go to the continent. If you click here, you will see there are values. So if you just unselect the blank and click OK from the table, then let's refresh to see if it's going to affect from here. But for now, you can leave it. Don't put your time into refreshing and filtering at this point. As you can see, it takes a lot of time. Anshul, any questions from you? Ankita, questions? Khushbu, Kunal, Prateek, Ravi, Rohit, anyone, any questions? Didn't get filtered from here. We have to filter from the query part. So I'll skip that part for now. Okay, should we start to make the next visualization? I've got only one done over here. Should we continue? Yes. 2, 3, 4, 4 people said yes. Let's continue so that we are able to finish it today. And next visualization that you can see is this cases by country. What all is there? We have used a visualization of maps and we have used the value of final positive cases to be dropped here, where the number, if it's bigger, it shows a bigger circle. The smaller the number of positive cases, it shows a smaller dot. So I'll go back. How do we create it? Just like previously, click in a white empty space. And over here, you see first column, fourth row, map. So we are going to click on it. Let's increase the size because there is a lot of data to visualize in this one. You can, modify the size, drag it a little bit on the right. And now let's drop. So over here, what all I have dropped. So location, what I've dropped, since it's a map, I have to give a location, a country or a continent, it might not understand, but a country or a state or a city kind of a thing. So I have picked the country short name and I'm going to drop it in my location. As soon as I do that, you will see it will start to generate the dots on the map based on the location of the countries it has been identified. Now, if I scroll down in this particular area, at the bottom, you will see something called size. So the dots or the bubbles that have been created, they're all the same size. So if I want to show that, okay, which country had more cases versus less cases visually, then I need to put in the size the final positive cases that we have got. And you automatically see the circle sizes have now changed. So if I click on Asia, I'll get to see Asia. We're looking at India, highest. If I go to Europe, I'm looking over here in Europe. Russia had higher cases. France, UK, all the big circles over here. Okay, and if I want to get rid of this selection, there is a clear selection, top eraser kind symbol that you can see. When you clear on it, you get your entire table back, the entire map back. Can you all create it? Asif and Manushri are like the fastest fingers over here, doing so quickly. I hope for all the people who are doing it on a phone, you find this fascinating and you will take out time, go through the video again and do it. Right now, the visualization industry is huge. Every company that we are dealing with is getting people trained or hiring people in visualization. So Power BI is a big thing right now. Okay. Any questions from anyone? Saheli, Ritika, Ujjaitri, any question? No? Okay, let's move on to the next visual we have, and this is a table. I have picked a table, and what I wanted to show in the table are my top 5 countries. So top 5 countries overall, if I pick a particular continent, then top 5 countries of that continent is what I want to depict. So how did we get this table? We are going to choose this visualization over here. I have used a matrix. Okay, so third column, second last symbol, matrix. So I created matrix. And again and again, I'm telling you, need to make sure you're in the white space. Otherwise, you will kind of, remove the previous visualization and put this one. Now, what do I want? I wanted the countries and I want the positive count. So in rows, because this is the area which will show rows, I will put the country short name. All right. And I want to put the final positive cases in the value part. So do you think it's a good thing to leave so many countries in our visualization? Is it going to be healthy to look at all the countries that I have? I have a scroller that my user goes up and down and looks at it. Do you think it's a good idea?
No.
No. Typically, what people are interested in? People are either interested in the top or the bottom, right? In between averages doesn't need too much care. So how do I get the top 5? Now we will work with these filters. And in filters, you can see it says filter on this visual. I have country, I have final positive cases. So based on which particular field you want to filter. I want to filter based on country. Why? Because I'm looking for my top 5 countries. So I'll click on the drop down. It shows filter type is basic. What I want to do is do the top N, right? I can have top, I could have bottom over here also. And how many items we want? We want 5. Now I want to filter this visualization, even though the value that I have dropped here is final positive, but still you can put in this visualization filtering based on some other value, right? What I mean is, let's say if it's not based on final positive cases, top 5 based on, let's say, death rates, okay, the number of deaths. If I wanted to do that, I could drop the count of death in by value and it will give me top 5 countries by death count, and in the visualization, it's showing me positive cases. But in our case, we are also doing filtering based on positive cases. So I'll bring the final positive in the value. Once you drop, it doesn't do anything till you click on apply filters. So once I click on apply filters, now what do I have? I've got my top 5 countries. Right? So if I pick Asia, top 5 countries, Oceania, my top 5 countries, Africa, my top 5 countries. Okay, let me know if it's done, then we'll move on to the last part. Now the last bit is left, and that is to show a trend, how it has worked, number of positive cases over year and month, what has been the trend of it. All right. So for this, we are going to create a line chart. Where is line chart? First column, second row, line chart. This got created. Now, what do I want to put in the line chart? Which fields do you want to put on the line chart? The report date, right? You want to put the date and the positive cases, correct? So I'll bring the report date. Now, when you drop a date has multiple, what do you call, date parts to it. Like a date comprises of a year, it comprises of a month, it comprises of a day, it comprises of a quarter. So what do you want to analyze? If you put everything, then the analysis becomes little not so great to look at. Mostly we focus on month and year. So over here, under visualization, you see I've deleted quarter, I'm deleting the day also. So only 2 components I want from my date is year and month. Below it, there's a placeholder for values. So which values trend do you want to look at? Again, the final positive cases, we drop it here. As soon as I drop, it creates a straight line. So right now it is doing based on what? It's doing year-wise. It's only showing me years. So that's why, between the 2 years, you see a straight line, which might not be the case. If I want to drill it down to a month level, all I have to do is click on the symbol. And once I do, since I have the year and the month, it has drilled down on the month level. And your basic, I'm not saying pretty looking, but at least our basic dashboard is now complete. So if I want to look at the trends in Europe, I can see how the cases went up, when it was down, what is the current one, which countries are the highest. In Asia, what has been the trend? What are my top 5 countries? What's my current? And if I wanted to look at, okay, let's look at Omicron, how it has fared through. So this is the data we have. What happened in the case of Delta? We were safe till this point, then we saw a spike, and then again, it calmed down. What happened in the initial virus case? Nothing had happened much. And then suddenly we saw a big spike. And I hope all of these things make sense to you, because all these things we were tracking since Corona came into our lives. And that's the typical graphs that we have been seeing. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up again, a much higher spike, and so on and so forth. So, and if I want to remove, this is, I've done, like we saw, it went up. Second wave that came was even higher. Third wave that came, positive cases were even higher. So I hope you understand that it's a pretty realistic outcome that we have got. How to select multiple items in the variant. If you want to select multiple items in the variant over here, you can press your control key and then do it. Once you press your control key, then you can. All right. Interesting? Not interesting? Do you enjoy making it?
Yes, ma'am. Interesting. Very interesting.
Very interesting. And, kind of gave you a flavor of multiple things in this. Gave you a flavor of slicing your visuals, creating tables, filtering, visualizations, even touched upon DAX, which sometimes, in such a shorter time was not possible. But today's data forced me to do it. I could not really work with the columns that are already there. So I was like, okay, we need to do a nice dashboard, which makes sense, which is interesting. And then how do we do it? The last part, let's put a title on the top and an image over here. How do you put a title? We are going to go to the insert part on the top. On the right side, you see there's a text box. So you click on the text box, place it well. I'm going to shift it up. And then whatever is my title, I can put it over here. So you can decide what style you want. You can decide the font styles font size, font style, what is going to be the color. You can decide that. I want it bold. And I've made it white because I wanted to give a background color to this. So over here, once I've selected this text box, you will see a new thing came up, that is format the text box. Okay. And when you click on the format text box, I am going to change the background color from white. I gave a darker blue. This is the blue I used. I believe, no, this is the blue I used. And then when I write inside it with a white, it would look nice. So again, it went back. I want to make it calibrate, want to increase the size and make it bold. So I can say COVID analysis 2020 to 2022. And I can make this again white. Okay, and as far as that image goes, I downloaded from internet. Since everything in my visualization was blue, so I picked a picture which is blue in color, though Corona doesn't have a color to it, but I picked and I put it next to it to give it a nice touch to the dashboard. Because when you talk about dashboard, it's not only your visuals that we are talking about. We try to, sorry about that, we get it by using some, kind of colors to it. So all these things can be done. This text box doesn't want to go. All right. So not bad, but decent looking. And you can, play around with it and analyze a lot of things in it. All right. Any questions? Well in time. Learned a lot.
Ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, it is possible for we publish this all this sheet in a website.
You can, but for all those connectivities, you need a Power BI licenses that we have to work with. For the free versions, you can't plug it in.
Okay, ma'am.
All right. The video for today, it should be on the YouTube channel of IV. It will get uploaded since we are doing YouTube live as well. What is the difference between a table and a matrix? So if you think about, I'm not going to touch this part. So what table comprises of only the, you see over here, only the column is there. And if I drop, let's say, if I wanted to drop the variant over here, and, or no, not the variant. Let's say if I wanted to drop the continents over here, and I wanted to drop variant, this is how they'll show up, because it's a table, right? But if I wanted continents to be here, variance over here, and the value in the middle, then this has to be a matrix. Matrix means you have rows and columns. So you see now it has organized well. Continents and the variants, what are the variants? And now if I drop the final positive, it is giving me, based on each continent and each variant, what are the numbers. So this, what you can, layout is a matrix layout. That cannot be achieved in table. Table means one row, a row inside a row inside a row. That becomes little too much to look at times. All right, is it clear? Ola, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. So thank you so much for attending today's bootcamp. I really want you guys to come back again tomorrow for another interesting set of tools that you will be working with. Devesh, this video is going to be on YouTube, but if you're connected to someone at Ivy, they can also share the video with you. All right, I hope you enjoyed, kind of understood what Power BI capabilities, and look at the time that we used and we created this dashboard. Really want you to practice it if you've not done while the session was going on. And you can find me on LinkedIn. You can connect with me. I should have my LinkedIn profile, but if you look for my name, check for my spelling, and if you check the name of the company, Ivy Professional School, you should be able to find me. So I'll be happy to connect with any one of you. And if you want any kind of guidance, do let me know. All right. Thank you so much. And you have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow then. How to remove the filters. Which filters do you want to remove, Pooja? Oh, okay. So once you've put this filter on these slices itself, you see these small eraser marks coming up that you create from them. And if you want to get rid of the filters in your table, you will have to go back to this filter. Right, on this visual, it is showing this thing. And again, this simple, same symbol throughout. Click over here, it goes away. All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much. You take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.